Tubers, tubettes, and all of Santa's crazy people. The title of this video is I Need Your Help. And this is going to be, I think, a video totally different from what I've ever done before. And I am going to need your help. And so I'm going to explain to you why and what I'd like you to do for me. I don't normally watch other videos, but there's been a plethora of Christmas videos, of Christmas parties and gatherings and getting together and all this and that. And if you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. May did one, a girlfriend. And it's eating, and it's playing games, and it's enjoying, yourself and socializing with your friends and all that hoo-ha. And I tuned into a very dear friend of mine's video and gave him the thumbs up and let his video play and was watching it. And another thing that I very rarely do, especially on my own channel, is I was reading the comments. And it was the usual suspects. There was 10 or 12 comments, I think, left on this particular video. And they all said pretty much the same thing. Wow, that looks like a good time. It's great to see you people having fun. I'll be there next year. I hope I can join you. Merry Christmas. That's great. Boy, that food looked yummy. Those games you played sure were fun. And then there was a comment that just bowled me over. The comment said, "I'm all alone." And it just hit me right between the eyes. That here we are having all this fun and all these gatherings and mixing it up with each other and kind of showing it off on YouTube, if you will, about what a great time we're all having. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's a lot of people out in the world that are frankly just alone and don't have the opportunity or the ability to share in that joy. And this is the time of year where people who are alone or feel alone feel even worse. And things get a little darker for them. While everything's bright and cheerful for us, their world is collapsing a little bit. And it reminded me of a story that I heard of a young man that was doing all the right things up till about he was 16 or 17. And when he hit 16 or 17, he started to rebel, if you will. Smoking cigarettes behind the school, and then that progressed to smoking some weed, and then that progressed to a full-blown meth addiction. And he carried that addiction for, I think he told me, 15, 16 months, and his entire world was just spiraling down. His health, his family life, etc. He sought counseling for that. And through the counseling, he was able to pull off a full recovery and actually went into the ministry. And he was explaining to me, because I had a lot of questions for him. I'm a very curious guy. And he said, Paul, we're all born with gifts. Some people are born with knowledge. Some people are born with wisdom. Some people are born with teaching. Some people have servants' hearts. Others are counselors. Others are consultants. And the list goes on and on. Each and every human being walking the planet right now was born with a gift. Maybe you are aware of what your gift is. Maybe you're not. But this is the time for gift giving. Presents is normally what we open as a gift. He explained that once he recovered, he felt so, not ashamed, but he felt guilty that he had been involved in so much meism. In other words, he had just abandoned everything that he knew to be right. He went down the wrong path. He said it was because he got into it because he was sort of throwing a pity party for himself. You know, life was hard, his parents were strict, this, that, and the other. And he says, I knew that the core of my problem was me, and it was me focusing on me. And the way that I could help myself the best would be to give something to someone else free of charge. And so he was a young guy. He was maybe 20 at that time by the time he got through all that. And he didn't know what he should do. So he went to this place, that place, tried to volunteer here, volunteer there, didn't find himself being able to really fit into whatever they were doing. And then one day he went to, and I'm going to call it what he called it because it's what we used to call it back in the day, and I still think of it this way. He went into an old folks home. Now, today the proper way to say that, I believe, is elderly care. But I'm old school, so I still think of it as the old folks home. And that's where you went when you were elderly and nobody could take care of you. That's where you kind of landed. And so he went into the old folks home and went to the receptionist, told her who he was and what he wanted to do. Can I help? Is there something that I can volunteer for here? And the woman said, well, there is one lady that's here that never gets a visitor. In fact, she's pretty much comatose. She's unresponsive. Something had happened, I don't know what it was, with her brain, whether it was a stroke or something like that. And she apparently has no family or loved ones or anything else, and she's just sort of a ward here. And that's the only person I can really think of, but I don't know what you can do for her. So he went down and he observed the woman, and indeed, she was just laying there in bed, and she was just being kept alive, basically, by the staff. And he said to the receptionist, I'll be back tomorrow. The next day he returned with a book, and he simply pulled a chair up next to the bed, opened up the book, and for 2 hours read to the woman. No response. Nothing happened. And he did this repeatedly. About the 4th or 5th day, as he read the book, he noticed that the woman actually smiled a little bit, and that her body posture changed sort of to more of a relaxed state. Now, this is the woman that nobody thought could hear or think anymore or had any candle power left because of the damage that had been done to whatever had happened to her brain. And he said over time, as he showed up faithfully every day, read to her for 2 hours a day, it got to the point that when he arrived with his book and he was walking down the hallway to see this woman, he would greet the staff on the way down the hall to her room, and that at the sound of his voice, which the woman could hear, she would begin to thrash about in the bed, anticipating the gift that he was going to give her, which was 2 hours of his time reading to her. So deep, deep down inside, she still existed, yet she was alone. The point of this video, the purpose behind this video, and why I need your help is twofold. I think that many of us are blessed. We have family, we have friends, we have those that care for us, and we care for them. And yet, I think there's almost a silent majority, possibly, or minority, of people who are alone or feel alone. at this time of year, especially. There are people that are incapacitated. There are people that maybe lost a loved one recently. There may be people that are truly solitarily alone by themselves all the time. And there are people that are possibly surrounded by others yet feel alone or feel forgotten. So here's where I need your help. I'm going to make a request. If you fit into the category of one of the people that feels alone, or you feel forgotten, or you are alone, I simply want you to put in the comment section of this video, I'm alone, or I feel alone, or I feel forgotten. And then those that have a gift to give, I ask that you share that gift with that person at this time of year. May it be a word of counsel. May it be a word of encouragement. May it be a word of brotherly love. It would be a gift that you could give without having to buy it, without having to shop it down, without having to wrap it. It would take 2 minutes of your time. And at the end of the day, I think that by taking 2 minutes of your life and responding to that person in a kind and loving way, the real gift that you give will be superseded by the gift that you receive by doing so. Merry Christmas from the old dog, Baby May, and we will see you next time.